Welcome back to the line. I am your host, Coach Manny, and in this episode, we go deep into the game. We talk about the start of the NCAA season and the current top 25 ranking. We talk about the importance of development and what it really takes to build something lasting when getting ready for the next level. We also talk about that story of a G League player going back into the NCAA world and what that says about exposure and opportunity and how it ties to the reclassing trend we're seeing in youth basketball. And of course, we're going to talk about the viral debate going on. Could an 8th grade AAU elite squad really beat a WNBA team? We unpack the reality behind that one. So tap in. This one's full of real talk about basketball, development, and what separates hype from the process. Let's get into it. Another episode. Let's get right into it. New NCAA season. There's some rankings out there. Some big matchups already took place. What are you seeing?
Yeah, early part of the season, a lot of the coaches are testing the waters, trying to see what the team's about. Got new faces, new places. We have some new places in old places. And right now, they got Houston ranked number 1. Purdue, UConn, Duke, Arizona, but it's early. There are going to be some upsets, and we could specifically talk about, the team that we're really familiar with in this top 25 is Michigan State. They've already played UConn. They're going to hit a gauntlet here. They're going to go against Kentucky. Then they got Duke coming up, North Carolina. I mean, that's a murderer's row right there, and this could really test the team. And by us being close to Coach Izzo and the Spartan Nation, this is where you earn your stripes at. We talk NIL and all this other good stuff. This is where you earn your stripes at.
So Michigan State played Arkansas, and then Columbia played UConn.
Right.
What are you seeing in some of these top teams? Have you been watching the games?
Watch a lot of them. I take a lot of what I see from these teams and integrate those concepts with what we do at Virginia Elite in our AAU program. A lot of the teams are playing these matchup zones. They're of course picking out the hot guys. Now even the kids that are freshmen or the first time playing, these coaches are getting film. And these staffs are breaking down, what side do they shoot on better than the other, how they rebound, what's the run out. That we hear the term data analytics in sports, and that's what these analytics, the results of these analytics, how many rebounds you're getting when, a kid is shooting on one side of the floor as opposed to another side. Matter of fact, you want to go all the way back to Dennis Rodman before they even started doing analytics was the thing. That's how he made his living. And of course, a Hall of Fame player who I don't think he averaged double digits in scores, but I know that from the rebounding standpoint, man, it carries. But we're gonna see some really good games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. There's some specialty events that these teams will be playing in, that they will be, facing each other before they get into what we call the regular season, and then eventually going into tournament play.
Right. Looking at this field right now, that tournament is going to be crazy.
Man, wow!
Some of these teams are just built in a way that is going to be great,
and they're constructed to. Not only, their conferences, you're talking about the ACC, the Big Ten, even like the A-10, the Atlantic 10 is, you look on TV right now in the NBA, there's a lot of guys out of the Atlantic 10 that's playing professional basketball. So just because it's not one of the conferences that you hear about all the time, that's where a lot of guys, Obi Toppin went to Dayton, and people say, oh man, where's Dayton? I mean, that was a grown man playing in the A-10, and at that time, again, we were forced to have one of our guys, Grant Golden, at Richmond, who went against him. So, and both of those guys, Grant is playing professional overseas, and of course, Obi Toppin is playing in the league. But that's a very competitive league, and it's exciting to see basketball at this particular point. We've talked NIL, they've talked, guys coming back. Now, now it's time to throw the ball up. Let's go get it. Let's see who's who, and we'll rock from there.
Hey, real quick, you see the news about that kid from the G League coming down to?
Yeah, man. I really have I'm not in favor of that. I think that once you play professional basketball or professional sports,
Yeah.
specifically you stand into your sport, um, and to come back and play. First of all, you take an opportunity from another young man
Yeah.
that is trying to get himself situated so he can play. But to go, let's look at it from a baseball standpoint. Think of a guy that played uh, in the World Series and didn't finish college. He left early. Hey, he could go back. Instead of, how would that be? You look at situation. I mean, my thoughts on this is, hey man, if you want to come back, sit out a year, and you got to go to class. So that's the other part to it. Nobody's really saying anything about the academic piece to it. Yeah, you gonna come back, but these are now adults coming back. So put borders around it. Come on, NCAA, put some borders around this thing.
So you touch on something that I think reverberates all the way down to middle school, right? The coming back from the pros, the 26-year-olds playing and then it goes to the topic of reclassing, right? We could have a whole episode on this. I'm not for or against. It's just you touched on it, and you say, when you said taking an opportunity away from an upcoming high schooler or freshman in college, or I think it was Patino who said they're not even looking at high school players anymore.
Yeah, but he just went and signed a high school player.
Right, but the intent of, like, I'm not even looking at these high school players. I'm just going into the portal to get these more developed older kids that. So it's a whole conversation. We can do a whole episode on this. I hope we do.
Well, it's funny, man, that you bring that up, and the kid Adam is from our area. He's a local kid, and so when Coach Pacino said that, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Oh man, you're not getting high school kids. Well, it's kind of like, okay, then where the players coming from? Yeah. So if you're not getting high school players at certain point in time, it gets saturated. So where are you getting these players from? And like we tell our kids coming from other places to play. Example, the young man that's at down at Virginia Tech. They're saying this kid's a pro. They brought him in, and I think they're looking at Virginia Tech possibly making the tournament, the Field of 64.
Because of that kid?
Because of that kid. I mean, he's a 6'8" guy that can play 1, 2, and 3, handle the ball, shoot it, defend, polished.
Yeah.
And, that's something that we talk about when we talk about reclassing. We talk about these guys come back. There's a word called the polishing of the player.
Yeah.
The development of the player. And that's the other piece to the puzzle. So, me personally, I'm not in favor of it. Hell, I got a couple of years of eligibility left. Maybe I can go.
I was running with that practice today.
I could finagle the practice. Hey, just get me in to do this. And but I think the larger topic of this is the education piece of it. Are these guys going back as full scholarship athletes? Do they have educational requirements that they have to do? Again, you're talking about guys who are adults now that if they're just coming in the hoop, that may not be attractive to them. So
all this being new, I think there's a lot of figuring out that still needs to happen. But I saw a video the other day of a college coach it was a huddle, not a huddle, it was a film session, and the college coach was telling his kids, we don't pay you to do X, or we don't pay you to do Y. I mean, that was in a conversation that was happening a few years back.
Right.
Job now, right? Now, I'm not against players being rewarded for, NIL and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But the conversation changes. And then there's so many effects that come with that it's still too new for anyone to really be able to say, I understand the whole landscape. Now, saying all of that, we have a few kids that are freshmen in Division One.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You could talk about how did Virginia Elite prepare them for that next step, going up against sometimes 25-year-olds, and what do you see in their future as the season progresses?
Well, one of the things that we do early on, and you've seen this firsthand, is the development piece. All the hoopla and all the things that going around, you know, the development of the player that really truly doesn't affect them on the floor. I've talked to a number of parents outside of our organization, and they don't really understand how to grasp that development piece, because everybody's trying to win a trophy. I mean, a trophy is about $15. You want to get a trophy. Like I told one coach, I got a box full of trophies
Yeah,
that you want one to give to your kids,
there you
fine.
go. I got
But
some.
I
Yeah,
got, yeah, I see you behind, man. We have a lot, man. And um I just think that it's coming down now to the development piece. And I used to see guys put videos like, "Oh, we got this new drill." For the guy that's been in the game 30 years, you've probably seen every drill in the world. You
yeah,
know, and we've been doing certain type of combine drills since the inception of the program. We take our guys through and young ladies through that process, and it's not for everybody. So we see our guys out on the floor now, and not just the ones that but the ones that that are not as popular, that are doing really well in school on the court. And ones who have continued on, and some of them played football, and they've done extremely well. So it's still a matter of really and truly, what do you want to get out of this? And if getting to the pros now is so complicated. I'm not gonna say hard, but I'm gonna say complicated, because there's so many different factors now.
yeah,
So yeah, so that's kind of where, but I'm excited to see our guys. We have several guys starting on their teams, and that's coming from a division, going from a Division 1 starting. You guys
yeah,
get major time on the floor, competing, and a lot of these guys they're competing with, they've already played against them in one facet or the other. So
yeah.
I always say, just because you put on a different uniform doesn't necessarily change you. But stick to what we do, and that's why our guys have been successful. Not just the current guys, but I'm going back years when a lot of our players have been involved with conference championships.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think you hit it on the head. It's the development, right? So it's a new generation. You can't deny that, right? So there's different ways of doing things that we used to do back in our day, but the piece of development sometimes conveying to young players that some of this stuff will be boring. Like some of this
Yeah.
stuff you have to learn it slow first,
Yeah.
and then you apply speed as you get more comfortable. And as we go to these tournaments, you're going to be playing older kids, and they're going to be faster, bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
stay. You say, what are you getting out of this? Stick to your path,
Yeah.
stick to your race, do it the right way, and don't worry about trophies and tournaments when it comes to middle school and high school. Just get ready
Well,
for what's next.
and I think also too, the proliferation of social media and youth sports now
Great point.
has not only got into the minds of the kids, but also got in the minds of the players.
Yeah,
Got in the parents, the players, the coaches. I've seen coaches treat their sixth, seventh, eighth graders like they're adults, and they're not adults. And because you may have a size advantage at seventh, eighth grade, doesn't necessarily mean that same thing is going to happen when you get to ninth, 10th, 11th, or 12th, because you know the anatomy changes. The kids that are not as quick at seventh grade, when you see that same kid at 10th grade, you like, oh my God. I mean, I give you an example. We have a kid that came to us. I'm not gonna call his name out, but he's about 6'2", 6'3". He's a freshman now, and he's staying 6'8" and a half, 6'9".
yeah,
That no one has seen this kid. So the issue with what I see right now is the unknown. How do you deal with the unknown, as you just said? How do you, as a parent, convey to your child that there's an unknown that you haven't experienced, but you're going to experience? It's just like when you graduate college, you're going out into the real world to get a job. You better know how to write a resume. So, just little things like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like when the physical advantage that you get early goes away, the kid who knows how to play the game will outshine the kid
Yeah,
who's just an athlete, right?
yeah.
Now, if you're an athlete and you know how to play the game,
Oh,
that's
yeah. You have.
absolutely right.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
there's more to running fast and jumping
right.
high and being tall
Well, I
to the
mean,
game
we've
of
seen.
basketball.
I mean, just take a look at the NBA MVPs for the last several years.
Yep.
You the Joker is not. He moves like a truck. you know, but he is very efficient as a basketball player, and he does a lot of little things really well. Uh,
You could
uh,
say the same about Luca. Luca's not necessarily the
no,
athlete.
matter of fact, they say he's not
Yeah.
fast, but
Yep.
he's got 40 and 15. You know,
His footwork, his range, his IQ.
yes,
Exactly. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and that's where I think that we talked about the development of the players at the youth level. I think that is a part that is missing. I'm not saying that all coaches do it a certain way. I
Yeah.
know that for what we do, we believe in the fundamentals. We believe in understanding terminology. We believe in being coachable because, as you said, boring is not sexy, but it's effective.
Yeah.
And if you can
What do,
come,
what do Joker
yeah,
and Luca have in common?
well, they're both slow as hell. I know that much.
Well,
You
on the
know,
positive, they're both from the FIBA world, right?
and for both of you,
So
right? And very right,
when I was looking for a place to coach, because I come from the FIBA world, right? So
right,
when I was looking for a place to coach, it was important for me to be part of a program that valued the fundamentals, the
right,
development, the
right.
practice, right? The value of practice versus playing games to
Correct.
make sure we develop these kids the right way so that when they get to high school, you can
Right.
plug them in different systems and they're just going
Right.
to be able to operate.
Well, I know you and I talked about it. We had a kid, Elliot Donnelly, who went to Hayfield High School. Elliot has been playing professionally for the last
I've
six
seen his clips.
years,
Yes.
and you watch him play, and it's like poetry in motion.
Yep.
Grant Golden, who's playing in Greece, if I'm not mistaken. At
Reason tough.
he's when he came out of high school, a lot of people didn't think that, oh well, that's your guy. I'm like, yeah, that's my guy, but he can play too.
Yeah.
Proofs in the pudding. So when he was at Richmond, he had a chance to go against Obi Toppin. And we talked about what that is to go against a guy that is that athletic. And Grant's having a tremendous career. Um, and a host of other guys. But again, it's understanding how to play the game. The fundamentals of the game will take you a long way because even some of the best. Now we look at Allen Iverson, one of the top 50 to ever play the game. But once that quickness started dissipating, then he became the normal guy, right? The crossover got a little bit slower. The speed to get into the spots got a little bit slow, not a lot, a little bit, and you saw how it impacted his game.
Yep.
Iverson one of the greatest to ever do it, but as we talked about, once those the physical part of the game starts to diminish, what do you rely on?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say though, young Iverson with the amount of space they get in the NBA these days, he
Oh
would
man.
average 50.
Oh man.
The space in space, he would average 50, no problem.
I mean, some of these guys talking about, man, the guys back in the day were playing now. They couldn't. Hold on, we can stop this conversation.
Yes, yes.
Is
AI would average 45 at least. Yes,
on a bad night.
yes.
On a bad night, and all the LeBron, Mike debaters. I'm a Mike guy. I saw him through the whole shit. Mike
Yeah.
would probably average 70 points a game. Because you got to realize the physicality of the game when he came through, and guys forget about this, is that the physicality of the game was so much different. The 4 and 5 spots, and even that 3 spot. Larry Nance. If you remember, Larry Nance played the 3.
Yeah.
He played some 4. And you look at guys that's played in Artist Gilmore that played for, and I'm throwing some names out. Some of the young guys, I don't even know who the hell I'm talking about. But you got Artist Gilmore on the back end. I mean, he wasn't letting you get to the rack. Then you looked at the Dow Dawkins of the world. You had those type the Maurice Lucases. If Maurice Lucas played in this, and first of all, he couldn't play in this league. I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
Too physical, too demanding. It was a man's game at the 3, 4, and 5 spot. Not saying the 1 and 2 were different, but that 3, 4, and 5 spot, they played. We see cats right now. They're shooting tray balls.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
it's different. So, but it's one of those things, man. We kind of go back to the development of the player. And I heard somebody said on a podcast. I think it was Jamie Shaw, if I'm not mistaken. It was a good friend of mine with On3 recruits, On3 Sports. They're saying the big man is coming back, but they're hard to find.
I've heard the true point guard's coming back as well.
And the true point guard is coming back because that game where they put Cooper Flag at the point guard position. In watching Cooper Flag for the last several years, through AU, Mount Verde, that was the worst I've ever seen him. Not play, but just you can tell that wasn't a fit.
He wasn't comfortable.
Yeah. He wasn't comfortable. It's like taking, using a football vernacular, you don't take your running back because he can run fast and say, go play quarterback.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I think the evolution of the game is really and truly coming around. But I think as time has shown us multiple times, there's an evolution and everything comes back. And I think that the kids who command certain positions on the court, that was one thing, the young man who committed to Michigan State, the 7-1 guy. I think he's going to be, he's got pro potential. Physical, big, mobile, can do a lot of things out of the post, facing up, squaring up. But the hell, if you shooting tray balls, you never develop that. You only thing you can do is face them and shoot tray balls. And to be totally honest with you, I love Steph Curry, but man, everybody's trying to be Steph Curry. There's only one Steph Curry.
All right, of course. Now to wrap it up, you said something about social media earlier, and we talk about development. Let's wrap it up with this. Have you seen? There's a video out there. They're asking players, young players, and some adults, who would win between an eighth grade elite 8th grade AAU team and a WNBA team. Have you seen that?
The most insane question I've heard on social media. First of all, the 8th grade team wouldn't even know how to play against. Let's only get to the WNBA. Let's take your best 8th grade team and go down to Columbia, South Carolina, and go to Gamecock Stadium and say, okay, we're going to compete against Dawn Staley's Gamecocks. Take your best 8th grade team. And realistically, you're talking about kids who's maybe 14. Let's say 14. So between the time he was born and 8 years old, he don't know what the hell he's looking at anyway. So now you're going from 8 to maybe 11. Okay, so you got another 3-year run there. You still don't know what the hell you're doing. Now you at 11 going to 14. You just really get, it's I heard it. I've discussed it. I actually responded to the podcaster, and I'm like, nah. Yeah. And if you're talking about current WNBA players, and I've been around a lot of them, they're so skilled. It looks, it's like, watching. We talked about Luca and Joker. Thinking you have on the floor, you have 5 of those type players. They're just female, because that's how they play. They know how to pass. If you watch the WNBA, it's like, they are so good, and they're getting more athletic now. Yeah. So the athleticism for the female basketball player, is coming to aid. But to say that an 8th grade team, an elite 8th grade team, unless you're talking about a 20-year-old 8th grade team,
Well,
to
in
the
the
age.
eighth grade, they leave out the age. No, I'll say this. I agree with you. I think the amount of basketball these grown women have experienced, they're just going to be too much physicality. They're
Yes.
probably even stronger. They know how to use their
Yeah.
body. They know the game too much.
Yeah.
But I'll play devil's advocate just to see, right? What are some of the pros? Now, when we're talking about an elite eighth grade AAU squad, some of these boys are most probably 15, right? The whole roster is a little
Give
older,
15. Yeah. Give
right?
15.
They're going to be all between 6'1" and 6'5".
Yeah.
I think the average height for the WNBA is 6'1". So you could
Right.
say the athleticism and size advantage goes to the boys. Now they're going to jump and press and play crazy. How do you think the ladies
I,
would
th-
handle
I
that?
think I think the ladies will eat it up. I think that their ability to play one of the advantages that female basketball players have, they have mastered playing below the rim. We men look at mastering
Yeah,
above the rim.
yeah,
So let's take Matt McCurran for example, the two-time dunk champion. There's a reason why he's not in the NBA. I mean, very simple, right? It's very simple. It's nothing, negative towards him personally, but he doesn't know how to play the game at professional level as a point guard.
yeah.
So your jumping ability doesn't really mean anything, you know. So I just think that to say that an eighth grade team, and I chuckle. I'm going back to the 100 men and the one silverback gorilla. Well,
Yeah.
the first 50 gone. The first 50 gone. So I would say by the time you get to halftime, the female basketball team would be up by 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're going into panic mode, and as you said, the physicality of the players. You look at um, you know, let's go back a couple years. Get a good eighth grade team to go against Don Staley's NCAA championship team.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. And again, the key is they have mastered the game below the rim. And that's something that when you talk, and we've had these discussions before, like, oh, he can jump, he can dunk, but can you run a play? Can you execute this? Can you do this at a high level? You are now going to be competing against young ladies who've done this at a high level.
They're pros. This is their lives. Yeah.
This is their life. And in addition to this, the NCAA women are closer to the pros WNBA than the men are. So you're getting a player competing against a player that, and I think he put up Duncanville basketball team out of Texas. They're dunking, and I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
haven't seen a player look at defense.
Yeah.
Who runs the floor? You know, you play against a good team. They isolate. They'll run some isolations on you. Realize, oh, you can't go left, you can't go right. Oh, by the way, you're only 14 or 15
And
years
so the matchups. Yeah.
old. The matchup.
Yeah.
So there's a lot goes into it. One of the comments on this podcast was they recommended that podcast to take it down. Well, it's viral now. So
Yeah. It's one of those controversial clips that goes
yeah,
viral. I mean, I'm with you. I was just trying to play devil's advocate. It's just too
yeah,
much basketball. When you're in eighth grade, as elite as you can be in eighth grade, there's just too
yeah.
much that you still have to be instinctive about.
Correct,
And these
correct.
ladies at that point, they're just reacting,
They're,
reading
they're
reaction. They're going to
right,
punish you on the
right.
weak side all day. They're going to put you in actions where you don't know how to cover them. It's going to be a
But they're
60.
gonna put these kids in action they've never even seen.
Right.
So when and as men that play this game, again, I think the key to this is, and that's why I love watching WNBA and NCAA women's basketball, because they've mastered below the rim. They've mastered it, the movement below the rim. I love watching Dawn Staley's South Carolina Gamecocks play. I love watching Baylor and USC and UCLA. They play the game at a high mental rate
Yeah.
that I think when we talk about development earlier, is that it's boring, but that's what you want to get to, you know. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
But don't. If any parent listening, do not have your son involved in that test, because
But I think there's a bigger conversation we had about how much a lot of people don't understand the level at the WNBA.
Right.
They just out there saying that an 8th grade squad can beat a WNBA team.
Yeah.
That's I think that's a bigger conversation. Maybe to bring another guest who's connected to that, and then we you know, we go deep into that. But it's crazy.
But that's just like saying, because you can drive a car, you can go drive a NASCAR.
Right. I mean, 8th grade it's not even driving a car. Like,
right. It's one of the things. But I think that, you know, we want to bring this up and have a guest to really speak that has a footprint, deep footprint in that, and get their opinion on it. But again, it's like the silverback and 100 men.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you how I play that. I'm gonna let the first. You always, in every group, you're gonna get this tough guy, right? So I'm gonna let the first 20 go in, and I'll gauge how it's going. If it's a massacre,
the first 20 going though.
Then I'm out, G. I'm running.
Yeah.
I just gotta be fast as one or two guys.
I'm 99 or 100, because if we get past 75, I'm out. I'm
waiting
done.
too long. You waiting too long.
First
20, I'm out.
I'm gonna wait and see if Silverback kind of take a deep breath. But if he doesn't, and the big fella keeps going, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out. I'm out. Yeah. I'm out.
All right, let's wrap it up here, G. Good stuff, man.
Good stuff. Hey, look forward to our next session. Hey, the line is where it's at.
And that's another episode of The Line. If you got value from this, like it, share it, and hit subscribe. We're building a real community here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay locked in. Stay within the line. Until next time.